Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. I am Nicole, and I live here in India. And tonight I'm here with my only very good friend, Laurence.
Hello.
My bestie from the Westie, my French connection. And she is here tonight to help me give a reaction to it's a different type of video. I think we have done a few travel videos, and we've done food videos, and we have done some other types of content, but this is why every nation is becoming a fan of India.
Oh, nice.
I know, it is nice. And we are definitely fans. We live here. We've been here for a really long time. So we also like to watch these types of videos to see what the overall perception is of India. I love seeing other foreigners visit India and see if we agree with them, and especially travel videos and things. Does it really, what they are presenting it as, is that really the truth? And being here for so long, I think it gives us a different level of
Yeah, we don't necessarily
agree all the time.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice to be able to see the differences and where we do agree and where we don't. And I actually do think that India is becoming really widely popular globally. And so let's see why every other nation is becoming a fan of India. If you haven't already, give a like, give a subscribe. Let me know that you're here. I really appreciate it. And let's go.
India is changing. The idea of India, the country, is changing. Not because it's the fastest growing economy, nor because we have the largest population. Those are great stats, don't get me wrong, but I want to talk about India's influence, India standing in the world, and the world's opinion of India changing. See, 30 to 40 years ago, if you ask someone from the US or Europe, they'd know India for its culture, spicy food, and yoga. I mean, those are good things to be known for, but when you're a country with ambitious goals like becoming the next global superpower, then I'm sorry, but spicy food and Surya Namaskars are not enough. No offense to yoga influencers, you guys are great. See, today, when you ask the same people or their leaders what is their idea of India, you will get a different answer. Take the current superpower USA's stance with India in 1971. The US provided diplomatic and military support to Pakistan during the war against India. But today, the US is one of India's close allies, and one of their top defense and securities company, Lockheed Martin, has partnered with Tata to manufacture F-21 jets right here in India. So what led to US doing this complete 180 degrees? How did a prime minister become friends with the most feared man in the world? And why is Deepika Padukone presenting the FIFA World Cup? How did a nation known for its food and culture become known for its power, mainly its soft power? I'm Atina Maya, and in this video, I'm going to answer all these questions for you. The growth of India's soft power has happened over many decades through small and big steps and some incredible leaps. In this video, I want to cover these 3 leaps that got India here, and a bonus one if you stick around till the end. Before we get into how India grew its soft power, let's understand what is this soft power. Soft power is a lot of things, including influence, persuasion, reputation, and the ability to get something done without force. Here's an example for you guys.
अरे मेरा राजा बेटा सो रहा है, ये देख मम्मी ने दाल चावल बनाया है, खा ले। छी बाबा, क्या बोरिंग खाना है, दाल चावल खा खा के मेरे दिमाग का चावल बन गया है। ऐसा कर, फटाफट से दाल चावल खा ले, नहीं तो तेरी पॉकेट मनी कट कर दूँ। ओ सॉरी पापा, कितना टेस्टी खाना है ये।
So this is a very simple and straightforward example.
Have you ever used that soft power with your children?
No.
Oh, I have.
You have.
To explain you what soft power means. But what if we take this to the next level? A real life example, the first leap involving COVID vaccines and Apple's iPhones. In 2020 and 2021, during the pandemic, the world needed vaccines and it needed them immediately. And there were very, very few places in the world from where you could manufacture these vaccines quickly, cheaply, and at an enormous scale. There were actually really just 2 options, that's India and China. China got the head start with Sinopharm and Sinovac, But they lost their advantage because these Chinese vaccines faced skepticism because there was no transparency in their clinical trial data and their efficacy rates were lower compared to other vaccines such as Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca, Oxford. Now, these factors led to hesitation among countries to accept these Chinese vaccines. This is where Indian vaccines come into play. This is an example of soft power of India. India has a nickname for pharmacy of the world, all thanks to the Serum Institute of India, or the SII. The SII partnered with AstraZeneca to produce Covishield, also called AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. Covishield vaccine showed efficacy and safety in clinical trials and gained international approval and emergency use authorizations. India, in fact, exported Covishield to many of its neighbors, to the Middle East, to African nations, and even to Brazil.
आजा आजा मुन्ना आजा शूट ब्राजील
सर मैं नहीं कर सकता सर कोविड के टाइम पे उन्होंने हमको वैक्सीन दे दी
बे कमबख्त शूट मैं नहीं कर सकता क्यों हमारे देश में सारे सीईओस इंडियन ही हैं शूट नहीं मैं ये नहीं कर सकता क्यों क्योंकि हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर ही तो इंडिया है
Role of vaccine provider during this global pandemic strengthened its ties with many nations and increased India's soft power a lot. This transparency and trust in India's manufacturing in this space has led to many more opportunities for different industries. Like manufacturing iPhones in India. Last year, India made 3% of the world's iPhones, and this year it's predicted to increase to 6 to 7%. And over the years, it'll be even more because US wants to completely shift its manufacturing from China to India. That is more jobs for Indians and one more layer of friendship with the US. India is truly becoming the epicenter of all sorts of innovation. And speaking of innovation, here's one from India's startup ecosystem called Multiple that you should definitely look out for.
ये है आम जिंदगी ब्रो मुझे ना हनीमून के लिए मालदीव्स जाना है व्हाट डू यू सजेस्ट ब्रो ईएमआई पे चले जा 15 to 30% ज्यादा पे करना पड़ेगा पर इंस्टॉलमेंट ले ले कोई इशू नहीं है हाँ यार और कोई ऑप्शन भी तो नहीं है
और ये है मल्टीपल जिंदगी
इन्वेस्ट कर ले ब्रो फॉर योर हनीमून इन्वेस्ट फॉर अ हनीमून मुझे तो लगता था इन्वेस्टमेंट बस रिटायरमेंट के लिए होती है और स्पेंडिंग के लिए तो ईएमआई है ना
Bro, there's a new and smarter option now. You can invest for all your big expenses and earn returns from the investment market before you spend.
मतलब हनीमून ट्रैवल पे मार्केट रिटर्न्स
Yes, bro. And there's more. Best travel brands जैसे कि Make My Trip और Ease My Trip तुम्हारे साथ को इन्वेस्ट करेंगे for your honeymoon.
क्या कैन यू रिपीट दैट
For example, तुम्हें मालदीव जाना है 6 महीने के बाद and वहाँ का खर्चा है 2 lakhs. So you only need to invest rupees 1.75 lakhs in 6 installments and considering 8% return per annum मिलेगा तुम्हें मार्केट से which equals rupees 4,000 and brand को इन्वेस्ट करेगा 12% जिससे अर्निंग होगी 21,000. So your total earnings is 25,000 rupees. So you're basically paying only rupees 1.75 lakhs for your 2 lakh का Maldives trip.
वाओ और हम ये करेंगे कैसे
Through Multiple. Multiple app is world's first invest to spend app जहां आप कोई भी फ्यूचर एक्सपेंस जैसे कि ट्रैवल, गैजेट, वेडिंग एक्सेट्रा के लिए इन्वेस्ट करके स्पेंड कर सकते हैं. ऑल्सो मल्टीपल इज सेबी रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजरी बैक्ड बाय कंपनीज.
This seems a little commercial-ish.
Mm.
This is obviously something I think that, I mean, it seems like a really interesting idea, don't get me wrong, but this is a paid video right
Yeah.
here. Yeah. So, although I really like what has been happening in the last 7 minutes or so, I mean, this part of it is obviously paid for and inserted into this content. I do have to say, I think the idea though is a good one, but I'm going to call it out here that this isn't. I mean, this is obviously some sort of a marketing.
for sure.
Yeah.
Kotak Securities, IIFL and Bloom Ventures.
This is
सही
why
है यार ये तो
And not just that, you get crazy rewards, cashbacks and jackpots every week for saving smartly.
भाई अब फटाफट मुझे ये बता दे कि इसको डाउनलोड कहाँ से करना है
Check the special link in the description and download this amazing Made in India Invest to Spend app now.
The second leap in India's soft power is through its people and money. The people I'm talking about are the Indian diaspora that live abroad, the NRIs and the OCIs. You've seen them on Netflix, and some of them run the biggest tech companies in the US. Now, I know that these people are officially citizens of another country, but nevertheless, this contributes to the brand value of India globally. I mean, one of them is a leader of an entire nation, a nation whose ancestors once colonized us. Can you imagine the reverse happening in India? In the financial year 2022, India received the highest ever FDI of $84.8 billion in services. That's a crazy amount of money flowing from foreign VCs to India. And you know what's even crazier? The money your uncle, auntie, nana, nani are sending back home.
वेलकम टू शाम तक। रिसेंट खबरों के हिसाब से इंडिया की फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट को बीट कर दिया है एक नए वेंचर कैपिटल फंड ने, जिसका नाम है NVC, नानी वेंचर कैपिटल फंड। आज हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में है नानी जी, जो कि CEO है NVC की। नानी जी, प्लीज लेट अस नो मोर अबाउट योर जर्नी।
80 साल की हो गई, बहुत पैसा डॉलर जो ठहरा, हमारा ओल्ड एज होम तो हमने सोचा एक स्टार्टअप खोल लेते, तो देश की भी तरक्की हो जाती और हमारा नानी बनने का फर्ज भी पूरा हो जाता है। आ रही हूँ मैं शार्क टैंक में, शार्क बन के।
Yes, the amount of money being saved and sent back home by these NRIs and OCIs is more than the FDI in India. The third leap in India's soft power is through the Indian startups. Traditionally, many Indian startups are inspired to start companies that already work in the West. Amazon started in US in 1994. 13 years later, we got Flipkart in India. Airbnb started in the US in 2008. 5 years later, we got Oyo Rooms here. Uber started in the US in 2009. 1 year later, we had Ola. But today, this trend is changing. Now, startups from other countries are being inspired from Indian startups, like Multiple, which we spoke about earlier. So don't forget to check them out from the link in description, especially if you want to improve your savings. India literally went.
So I would say this is, totally true. Being in the tech industry, there are unicorns, so many unicorns in India, and it is amazing to see the innovative thoughts and just everything coming out of India. It's fabulous and really just amazing. So, and they mentioned like Rishi as being the ruler of the country, right? I mean, there's also Indian diaspora that's head of Portugal at this point, and there are other. We have Kamala Harris in the US, who's, vice president at this time. So Indian diaspora are rising up everywhere, and it's fabulous to see.
From being a nation that seek to copy business playbooks from startups from the West to being the nation which has now become the trendsetter for startups globally. Look at this tweet by Ankur Nagpal. The evidence for this is in the data we found in Bloom's Indus Valley Report 2023. India is the 4th largest country in terms of venture capital investments and comparatively gets more funding than its contribution to the global GDP. Now, what does this mean for India's brand internationally? This flow of money makes India and Indian companies attractive for entrepreneurs and employees. The Indian kid who wanted to go to Harvard, take on debt, and then start a company can do that right here, right now in India. The employees who want attractive salaries don't need to work for a US back office in India anymore. They can just work for Indian companies. India is positioning itself as a center for innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic growth by becoming a significant player in the global VC investment landscape. India, in fact, overtook China by adding 23 new unicorns in 2022. In fact, speaking of investments, the bonus leap in India's soft power and the last one is India's attitude. So, the country Switzerland is the gold standard of neutrality. Drawing inspiration from that, India was the first to adopt the strategy of non-alignment. Non-alignment was a word made famous by V.K. Krishna Menon. He also wrote the first draft of the preamble to the Constitution. In simple terms, non-aligned is not taking a side. By laying the foundation stone of non-alignment movement, India was able to establish a significant role for itself as a leader of the newly independent world and in the multilateral organizations like the United Nations. The 5 core principles of non-alignment are mutual respect for territories, mutual non-aggression, mutual non-interference in domestic affairs, equality and mutual benefit, and peaceful coexistence. Initially, these principles backfired, like during Sino-Indian War, because India was non-aligned and India was also isolated. But over the past decades, India has traded, held, and cultivated its relations with other countries. India has become an allied nation with many countries, and now the same non-aligned strategy is working in India's favor.
So I want to stop it here. Now, I mean, I know that globally Switzerland is recognized as like the gold standard for neutrality, but after everything you learn that like what happened in certain times, like I don't consider them as such, at least personally. Like they didn't take a side officially, but they definitely did take a side in some things. And a non-alignment, I think, for India has definitely worked. And she went over some other reasons why, but I just don't consider, like, I guess I just disagree with this entire thing with Switzerland being the gold standard. I don't know. Do you have any thought on that?
No,
No.
I would not communicate.
You
on
would
that.
not communicate on
No.
that. And then I can't remember. I was gonna talk about something else about like the unicorns and everything. But as I said, it is such an innovative country and just exploding. Oh, she had mentioned about how before kids were always kind of like you have to go to the US to, make your money and, build yourself or build your life there somewhere else outside of India. And that's just not true anymore. And the juniors and things that I talk to on my own teams that I've worked with, and I've been working in India now 9 years, I see these kids that, they still have this dream of going outside of India. And I always tell everyone that you can do it here. Like, stay here, make India better here. Like there is money here, there are jobs here, there is opportunity here, and you can do it here in India. You don't have to go to the US for that anymore. And
It's funny because this weekend I was talking to a few families and all the Indians who have gone to the US and came back to India, and they were all saying that they don't want to go back to the US.
To the
They want
US.
to- yeah, they want
Yep.
to settle down here.
and it is such a great place to be and to settle down, so much opportunity. And just so if you're young and you're looking outside, look inside, look into India. What can you do here? You will find opportunity here, guaranteed. Let's go.
Say what you will about the Modi government, but they have stuck to these non-alignment principles every step of the way. At the beginning of the Russia and Ukraine war, India condemned Russia's actions but abstained from voting against Russia and stood non-aligned and maintained its relations. Many nations like the US and Germany, who did vote against Russia, are facing the backlash from their citizens right now. All this soft power gained from this action will be critical if there's a clash between India and China in the future. Because India has made allies with some of the most powerful nations like US, UK, France, Russia, UAE, and many more. If there's a threat to India, these countries will step in, not just for goodwill, but to protect their country's trade interests. I can go on about the different ways India has developed its soft power, but you can see it unfold with your own eyes in the coming years. The same way, see our content as soon as it releases by subscribing to AVTV. We will keep bringing you fresh content, teach you about its culture,
Oops. So, yeah, I mean, I have to say that I agree with almost everything in this video. India, in general, I mean, so I have been here for 18 years. You've been here for 15. And we have seen it grow. We have seen it develop, and even just this city. But I mean, I am, my view of India is very minimal in terms of the fact that I'm just in Bangalore, but I know this growth is happening all over India and all over, my husband tracks how many villages are getting electricity every year, and like the different goals for, the villages and the more rural areas of India, and, bringing internet and bringing just a more global life to even the rural aspects of India. And just all of these things are happening, even in the, like, from where I can't see them, I know that they are happening. And I know that India is just becoming so much bigger and so much stronger. And it is really amazing to see and be here during this time. It's an amazing time to be in India. And I'm so happy to be here.
I think that if we manage to keep the villages and stop the flow of people from the villages moving into cities, and maintaining the food,
Like the
we India might even become the center
like for
of food.
yeah,
food
yeah, for
trade
food,
and,
for food growth and agriculturally,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely has the land to do it. It
Yeah.
has the
Just need
resources.
to keep the people there.
Yeah.
To work it.
Mhm. So I think India has so much to offer. I can definitely see why every nation is becoming a fan of India. We are definitely fans of India. So this was a great video to watch. I really I liked it. Apart from all the somewhat, the nicely placed advertisements, but it did have a lot of good information, and it was interesting to watch. So that's all for me right now. If you have something that you'd like us to react to, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already, give a like, give a subscribe. Let me know that you're here. I really appreciate it. And as always, we love you, and bye-bye.